Well, let's turn our attention to the budget. We're talking about the dollars. Peter, I'll go first to you on this. Before we talk about the big picture government approach, the coalition's had a few things to say. Angus Taylor will be with me live in a moment. The ACTU is saying that feminised workforces, workers in childcare and so on, need a big pay rise. They're saying up to 9%. How's that going to go down? Certainly, I think most people would recognise that women in childcare and so on do need to receive more.
They have received relatively substantial increases in the last couple of years. I don't put any higher than that. I know in aged care and in childcare they are the lowest paid and amongst our most dedicated of workforces. But I'm afraid there is the issue of wages-fuelled inflation. Inflation is stubbornly staying high. That limits the government's options, means it's going to be a much more harder budget than they would want. And politically, they're not in the position they wanted to be by this stage. They thought they'd have a much more improving environment. They would have a lowering inflation rate with the prospect of interest rate cuts by the end of the year. Kieran, the mood is sour out there. Australians know their standard of living has deteriorated and will not increase again, and they're worried for their children. This is precarious political territory for the government.
Simon, before we get to Angus Taylor, he's saying that there needs to be a structural surplus, not just a windfall surplus. Does he have a point there?
Well, he didn't bequeath one to the current government. The budget was firmly in massive structural deficit under the previous coalition government. And if you look, for example, at what Jim Chalmers and Katie Gallagher have done, they've actually banked the overwhelming majority of the upside in revenue receipts. So actually taken a structural approach towards the budget in terms of doing that much better than the previous coalition government did. So I guess the question for Angus is if he's going to turn the budget into a structural surplus tomorrow, he needs to tell us which spending he's going to cut or what taxes he's going to raise, because that's the only way you can do it.
Simon Banks, Peter McGauran, gentlemen, we'll see you next week. Thank you.